Good morning. Ignore the tired eyes. I'm having breakfast right now, and I wanted to share it with you because I'm eating a papaya. No, it's not a dinosaur egg. I cut it all open, and I already had a couple bites. I was like, wait, I should share this. And inside, it is not prepackaged with caviar. It is full of eggs. It's full of seeds. So just in case you've never had a papaya, I wanted to share this with you. So basically what I just did is I just scooped out all the seeds so it's all clean. And now I'm going to take a lime and squeeze that over there. I had a lime left over from last night. The first time I ever had papaya, I didn't like it. It tasted funky to me. But when I had it with the lime, it kind of cut some of the flavors, and it was something that I recognized. So then after that, now I can just eat it straight. But I first I couldn't eat it without this lime. So if you've ever not tried it, I recommend you try it with the lime.
Alright, time for lunch. So we, Alev, Valerie, and I all walked down to Everybody's Pizza in Emory Village, and we are going to enjoy this great pizza.
Well, I'm getting ready to prepare dinner. So the great thing about cooking, some people complain that cooking's too much work or they don't like to cook. The great thing about cooking a meal like I did last night is that you have leftovers. So now I get to just throw it on a plate and go about my day. Alright, so what I'm about to do is pretty exciting. I've recently found out how to make Greek yogurt at home, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to start with just a half a gallon of milk. So I put it into a pan and I'm going to heat it up on medium heat. Milk is tricky because if you just let it sit there, it can burn really easily and scald, and then it can stick to your pan. So this is something I'm going to do and just hang out here and stir and let it heat up. I'm going to try to get it to 180 degrees because basically I want to heat it up to the point of breaking down any of the proteins that are in the milk, so that way I have something to start with for making my yogurt. Right now it's 9:20, so let's see how long this takes. There's a lot of stirring involved, so one thing you can do also, I didn't do it today because I forgot, but you can pull out your milk before you start and let it sit on the counter for a little bit. I know it sounds gross, but it gets your milk cooled a little bit so it's not making condensation on the side of your pot because it's so cold you're just fighting against it. So to make this yogurt, it's really important to know what kind of temperatures you have, because you don't want to burn your milk, and you don't want to, later I'm going to add yogurt, and I need to know the right temperature to use. So I went and bought just like a cheap little candy thermometer from Publix. So there's my thermometer. Yay! And that's what I'm going to be taking my temperature with today, or taking the temperature of the milk with today. 5 minutes, and it's already 110. So one of the things that they suggest when you're doing this, that I found on some of the recipes online, was that you want to try to get not ultra super homogenized milk. Something about it just doesn't do as well. Okay, we reached 180, so now I can pull this off. I love it when the milk is ready and heated up to the 180 degrees though, because it has this really good buttery smell. Like I feel like I'm at the movies or something because it's that buttered popcorn buttery smell. Now I just poured it into another container, which is glass. So later I'm going to need an insulating container. And it's just that another container kind of helps it to cool faster. So now that we had it, we brought it up to the temperature of 180 degrees. We're trying to let it cool down to about 110. There's actually like a range that I read online, like from 120 to like 105. But basically we're trying to get it to a temperature that is warm enough to make bacteria comfortable, but not too hot to kill any bacteria. Because yes, we're going to be adding bacteria to this. So that part of heating up only took a little under 15 minutes. So now we just wait for it to come back down to the right temperature. So I'm going to go do something and I'll be back. So I've been stirring it a little bit to kind of help with the temperature going down while the milk is cooling down. I'm going to come over here and turn the oven on and down to the lowest temperature it can go, which is 170 degrees. Basically you want your oven to be between 110 and 120 degrees. And you're going to incubate your yogurt overnight. So one of the ingredients for making yogurt is actually yogurt. I know, my mom, when I told her, she thought I was cheating. Basically, I'm going to use this yogurt to culture my milk. The yogurt has ingredients of milk and, I don't know if you can see this, but different live active bacteria cultures, and that is what's going to ferment in our milk and create yogurt. So here's my Fage Greek yogurt with my live active cultures. So that when I put this into the milk, it doesn't just plop to the bottom and stick there, and it's so that it's easier to mix into the milk. Alright, so I'm mixing in this tablespoon of Greek yogurt in with 2 tablespoons of milk that has not been cooked. You don't want to add it to your cooked milk because right now the cooked milk is too hot. And you don't want to kill all of your bacterial cultures that are going to make yogurt for you. Now I'm going to turn my oven off since it's up to temperature now. So now it's going to start its cooling down process, and my oven, it leaks temperature really bad. Like as soon as I start cooking, it heats up my kitchen. So in no time, this will be back down to temperature. It's still cooling. Been stirring kind of to help it along. I poured mine into this glass measuring bowl, and I just like it because the glass is kind of insulating, and I like cooking with glass. But you can pour it into whatever kind of bowl works for you. Ceramic, glass, anything that'd be kind of insulating. Metal would work, but I would go with the others if you have an option. You want something that you can cover. So if you don't have, I have a lid for my little bowl. If you don't have a lid, if you just have a bowl, you can take a plate and just sit it over it. And basically that's just kind of a heat roof to keep the heat from rising and leaving your culture. So you want it all to be able to cover it all up. This thermometer over here says it's like between 130 and 140. So I'm leaving my oven open, let all the heat out. If you go away and come back and realize, oh no, my yogurt is 100 degrees instead of 110 degrees, remember you have a range of temperatures that still work. So right now the temperature is a little below 120, so I want to wait. I don't want to kill any bacteria here, so I'm waiting till it gets down to 110, but I've done it before. It got all the way down to 100 and everything still worked fine. So it took about an hour actually for that to cool down, and now what I'm going to do is add my yogurt. So here's the mixture of the milk with our yogurt. I'm going to pour it in. So now I'm going to mix this up really well. Get that yogurt mixed all in so it's throughout everything. So that yogurt just put bacteria in here that's going to culture this milk and give us yogurt in the morning. Now we're going to incubate our milk yogurt mixture. So I just covered it. So it's going to hold all the heat in, so it's going to keep it as close to 110 degrees as long as possible. And I'm going to wrap this in a towel so it'll keep all the temperature all in. Now I'm going to very carefully put my yogurt all wrapped in this towel into the oven where it's all nice and warm. And I actually left a pan in there, so when I was heating up the oven, it heated up the pan too, so that way it could kind of hold on to the heat since my oven releases all the heat. I put my thermometer in with my yogurt too, just so I could look at the temperature and make sure it's right, because you want it to be as close to 110 as possible. If it's a little over, it's okay. If it's a little under, that's okay too. But my mom was doing this recipe, and she couldn't figure out why it was not working, and we figured out after putting the thermometer in and then coming back and checking on it a couple minutes after putting it all in that her oven was actually really hot. So it was killing off all her bacteria, and she was just getting milk in the morning. If you notice your oven's too cold, you can always just turn your oven on really quick, just let it, pop some heat into the air, and then turn it off after about a minute of running. Now that the milk is incubating, I'm going to leave that in the oven for 8 to 12 hours, so basically overnight. I'm going to go to bed, and then in the morning I'll get up and check it. So tune back in tomorrow, and you can see if it worked and see what the yogurt looks like. Good night.